Hi, this is Peter Alford. I'm President of the Gungahlin Community Council. I'm just going to provide an update for our February 21 meeting on some of the activities the GCC has been up to. The agenda that you will be going through tonight is here. I'll go then provide the update I mentioned. Then we'll get updates on a couple of projects underway in the Gungahlin region, one in Thoroughbred Park, one on a police, citizens and youth club in Gungahlin, and the ACT Health Department have asked to provide an update on their Canberra Hospital Master Plan consultation. So we'll also have that coming along today. So on to a couple of things happening in Gungahlin or Gungahlin related before some of the specific GCC activities. All of you will remember we had an ACT election late last year and our members of the Legislative Assembly that were re-elected or elected were these five: Alistair Coe, Michael Pedersen, Leanne Castley, Suzanne Orr and Andrew Braddock. But I think it's important to note that Alistair Coe has resigned from his position, and as a result, the ACT process is that there will be a countback and for the selection of his replacement, and the very likely result of that, although they're not confirmed yet, is that James Milligan, the previous Liberal MLA who stood in Yerrabi, will be re-elected. We'd like to acknowledge and thank Alistair for his many years of service in the Yerrabi region and look forward to working with James, should he be successful, which should in fact be the case, through the countback process. The other development was, of course, yesterday the ACT government brought down their 2021 budget, and there were a number of big ticket items in there that landed in Gungahlin, and most notably the investments of the schools in Gungahlin, most of which have been pre-announced. So that's the Kenny High School, some design work to expand the Margaret Hindy School, and to do some design work for new high school in Taylor. A couple of the commitments that were made prior to the election have been funded. The Gungahlin District Tennis Centre to be constructed in Amaroo, and a feasibility study around where and how to build a new walk-in health centre in northern Gungahlin. Two things that I found in various snippets. One was that there is a commitment to fund the repair of the Gungahlin Leisure Centre, specifically the 50-metre pool, and that's great to hear. But elsewhere, I noticed that the Home of Football project is going to be laid a couple of years. This was to be built at the northern end of Throsby, commencing at the end of this year, but is now being delayed until 2023. Some of the work we've been involved at the council since our last meeting back in December was progressing the Celebrate Gungahlin Festival along with the other Celebrate Gungahlin partner organisations. A lot of work on development applications, some concerns around draft variation 364, some focus on community and recreation facilities, and we've been working very hard to get Gungahlin Smoke Signals, our newsletter, out, Gunsmoke, and we hope to have issue 149 out very, very, very soon. So just a little bit more on a couple of these. The first is Celebrate Gungahlin, which will be held not as a single big event because of some of the concerns around COVID, but as a series of pop-up events through the week of the 20th to the 28th of March. And we would strongly encourage everyone to put that into their calendar. There'll be the major days are on Saturday the 20th and on Sunday the 28th. The 20th will be some pop-up events and stalls in the town centre itself. On the 28th, there'll be a series of distributed picnics and a bunch of other events through the week. This is some of the artwork it's been commissioned, which is just terrific to promote the event, and you'll see that about. If you are looking to get involved, please search Celebrate Gungahlin and follow the links to that. I did mention that we have a lot of development applications underway, and some of these have already closed and some of these have only just appeared. But I'll just highlight some of the major ones. And really the key here is if you have an interest in development applications and you have concerns about these developments, please do get in touch with us and let us know what you think. I'd just like to flag that there's a development application to build a car park at the northern side of Bergman School off Delma view, and we certainly spoke to some residents there about that project. There's been another development application lodged for the very big mixed-use development between Anthony and Rolfen's Kavanagh Street, 560 units and 6 commercial tenancies. The design of the units itself is pretty good, but we certainly have concerns about the fact that they're not very mixed. There's a lot of residential units and not a lot of tenancies for commercial and retail customers. And that's certainly something we flagged in our response to that DA, which went in on yesterday, Tuesday. The other development that's that I've highlighted here is the Air Towers, now the establishment development, very large development on the corner of Gozard and Street and Gundaroo Drive. The developer has come back and asked the decision blocking their amended DA to be reconsidered. They believe they've addressed some of the concerns of the YMCA, and they have highlighted that. So if you have a view about whether the Community Council would oppose that development, please let us know. Certainly our standing position has been that we're opposed to it because of its location to other residences, strong feedback from community, and the impact it has on other businesses, including the YMCA. There are a couple another minor one was a change to a development along Camilleri Way, which was to include a place of assembly. That's now going to be converted to a hotel, and that DA was closed on the 2nd of February. And there's a new DA that's just come out for 99 dwellings in a mixed-use development at the corner of Camilleri Way and Kate Cray Street. So the key message here is lots going on in the town centre. And one of the challenges with that is that the rules or the precinct code, the design rules around the town centre have become somewhat confused. So the community's been raising issues with the town centre for a very long time, and some of you will have heard all of this before. But in late 2016, we raised issues of building height and character, public spaces, and walking, cycling, road transport in the town centre, which led to a process of a town centre planning refresh, which was actually a pretty good engagement. But unfortunately, when it came to including some of the feedback from that engagement in a revision to the precinct code, which are the rules around height and buildings and so on in the town centre, as part of what's called a draft variation to the territory plan, in this case, draft variation number 364, only some of those concerns were captured, and the revisions proposed added more concerns. And we provided a submission, met with planners, spoke with the planning minister, we've spoken to our Yerrabi MLAs. And so we're waiting for that process to progress. And when the draft variation was announced on the 23rd of August 2019, it had interim effect, which meant designers and developers had to comply with it. But for the legislation also means that if it hasn't moved from draft to completed after 1 year, then we return to the old precinct code. So that's what's happened now, of course, because we're well past 1 year. And it's very unclear when and how things are going to get resolved. We've been advised that the draft variation report has been considered by government and referred to the standing committee. And we have some very serious concerns that something that should be guiding the development of the town centre over sort of 5, 10, 20 years is flip-flopping with rules as frequently as 1 year. So we continue to pursue that with the Environment Planning and Sustainable Development Directorate, and perhaps we may have to reach out to the Planning Minister again. The other piece of work EPSDD are engaged with is a needs assessment for community and recreation facilities in Gungahlin. They've commissioned a company to do a desktop analysis followed by some community engagement. It's unclear exactly what form that community engagement and consultation will take, although we continue to press for that. And this will inform many things, but particularly the Casey community sites opposite the Casey Centre. We have been advised that it's a very broad project, so all of these things that are on this slide are potentially in scope. So that includes library, schools, childhood education, community hubs, government healthcare, aged care, sport and recreation facilities, community gardens, everything. So it's good that it's broad, but we yet to see the detail of what that analysis is and how the community and community groups will have a say on that. So we're keeping track on that. So that hopefully is an update on the major things that we're involved with, and I'll leave you to get back to the rest of the meeting live. Thanks very much.